Alright, welcome back to Marked for Death, starring Steven Seagal, who plays as DEA John Hatcher, as we see him running after Danny Trejo, alongside his partner Chico, played by Richard Del Monte. Here we get to see Steven Seagal's infamous running style. Hatcher continues to run after Danny Trejo, and we get to see Steven Seagal's stunt double for the first time bumping into a car. The stunt double once again as he gets back up to continue the infamous Seagal run. To catch up to Danny as Hatcher kicks him in the gut and pushes him through the wooden wall. Hatcher ties him up and stuffs him back into the car.
I didn't think so.
Now we are at the local nightclub where the two meet up with another DEA agent whose name we don't really know. As this other guy over here takes Hatcher, Chico, and lets them pose as drug customers to get to the drug dealers.
Think or not.
Okay, so the two are now exposed, and Hatcher and Chico fight their way out. But Chico, being an idiot, falls for a thirst trap. So Hatcher gets revenge and kills the stripper, and we now see the DEA agent Hatcher dragging Chico out, what's left of him. Hatcher is now at his local church giving confession about his past wrongdoings. Back at the DEA office, and we get to see the commissioner, played by Peter Jason, who was pretty much begging Hatcher to stay and not retire, but instead take a vacation. But Hatcher being Hatcher. So Hatcher now leaves the station and heads back home, driving his distinguished 1973 Ford Mustang. Anyway, he arrives at the Hatcher home and meets up with his nephew, sister, and mother, and niece, obviously. And now he is finally back in his old room as he looks around, a picture of him and his friend during the Vietnam War, who we will meet real soon, as he assembles an old gun. So Hatcher is now back at high school with a football in his hand. And there's the man from the Vietnam War picture himself, Max, played by Keith David, the star of The Thing, one of the most overrated movies ever, which I've never seen. But anyway, here we get to see some high school kids smoking some dope supplied by two of the notorious Jamaican henchmen in the film. So students get noticed by Max as they crap themselves and run away. So here we see a minor drug dealer by the name of Tito Barco, played by Al Israel.
We're here for the mud.
And here's the Mon himself, Screwface, played by Basil Wallace. And just to let you know, I mean Screwface, not Scarface, okay? The Paul Muni or Al Pacino movies would be prefer. So Tito suddenly now feels threatened by Screwface and goes to some woman who can put some kind of voodoo curse on him. And obviously, bribing her with cash always helps. She sips on booze. So she does her thing by blowing into a cigar and cutting off the chicken's head. So Hatcher and Max are now at their local club, the Shamrock. Guess who else wants to have fun? Yep, you guessed right. Tito Barco has also arrived. And we get this funny moment.
Some hormones in here. Oh yeah.
Once again, we get to see one of Screwface's notorious henchmen, and Mac. Another group of Tito's guys have also walked in now. And turns out Tito's guys were set up by Screwface's guys. Here we see another Seagal badass moment.
What else is there?
So Screwface's minion gets arrested. We know that the Jamaicans have a large hand in the drug trade, and we get to see the introduction of many different people in the scene, such as a reporter or a museum curator played by Joanna Pakula, and a Jamaican cop by the name of Charles, played by Tom Wright. We also know that the FBI and local county police are now involved but don't contribute much, and Screwface kills the woman that put the curse on him as revenge. And now we are at the local Jamaican nightclub, also owned by Screwface, when we see Charles scouting the place for more Screwface's activities. And we also learned that Screwface's lawyer, Jimmy Fingers, managed to release the two notorious minions. They will come in handy later on. Okay, so Hatcher and Max are doing their regular routine, and here we see Screwface's notorious henchman shooting up Hatcher's house. But the one that gets hit is Hatcher's niece, so Hatcher requests for special treatment at the hospital of his niece and finally takes some action against Screwface and walks out in the coolest way possible. So either this guy looks jealous or is feeling some kind of way, I don't really know. I always thought that was funny though. Okay, so Hatcher managed to locate Jimmy Fingers, played by Tony DiBenedetto, the lawyer from the Jamaican nightclub. So Hatcher knows that, Jimmy Fingers pulled some strings here and there. So Hatcher starts beating Jimmy Fingers around, and once, meanwhile, one of Screwface's minions joins in on the fun as he throws him up against the bed. Hatcher. So as a last resort, Hatcher finally kills Jimmy Fingers because he can't get anything out of him.
God made men.
God made men.
Okay, so Screwface's minion tries to run away as Hatcher tries to extract some information out of him. So he's pretty much sweating here at this point, but he disagrees and obviously commits suicide. Get this.
Screwface give me 1,000 deaths worse than you.
So would rather commit suicide than face Screwface's consequences. Yeah, good choice here, pal.
I thought he was invincible, the other thought he could fly. They were both wrong.
Okay, so Screwface is seriously pissed off now that Hatcher got the Jimmy Fingers and that his minion was deceased rather quick. And that he starts yelling all over the place. Hatcher's now back at home and sees that Screwface has left his trademark on his front door. So the same night he goes to see that same museum curator and no. So she says that Hatcher's family's marked for death, hence the title of the movie.
The cows.
Go look out the window. Is the guard still there?
Randomly, Hatcher goes for the phone to check in on his sister, and turns out Screwface and his merry band of misfits are already present there. So Screwface starts to try to work his Jamaican magic on Hatcher's sister, but Screwface hears Hatcher pull up, and Screwface just disappears out of thin air. Alright, so the next morning we see Hatcher and Max out on a stakeout, once again after the Jamaican drug posse led by Screwface, and we have this nice little interaction.
Sam the burner?
Harry. You want some blow?
Yeah, I want some blow. Put your
So one of the other random guys pulls out his shotgun, and this great car chase sequence occurs throughout downtown Chicago. Once again, we see Steven Seagal, stunt double, doing all the driving. Screwface's guys have shot the car's windshield off so much as they were able to pop it off. So the Jamaicans crashed the car into the local Empire department store, which is literally the same car used earlier. We get the shootout. We also get to see Steven Seagal's famous fight scenes that have become very popular on the internet. For those of you who don't know Steven Seagal, he's pretty much known for his invincible combat sequences, mainly using Aikido, but I'll talk about that in a much later video. So Hatcher's now back at the museum curators for more information, and yet we get another awkward situation. Suddenly, there's a construction job occurring in Hatcher's neighborhood as he's now trapped between two tractors, and obviously Screwface once again. So Screwface drops his Molotov bottle into Hatcher's car, and he manages to escape on time before it blows up. And there goes a distinguished car. I always thought it looked like Steve McQueen's car from Bullet. So the next night we see Hatcher and Max buying some guns as Charles pulls up.
meet Charles. Charles meet Max.
So you can tell that Max really hates Jamaicans here. But we also
Man, I've
learned
been off
that
the Screwface for 5 long years. I see them from Kingston to here.
I think Charles has spoken enough that he wants to join in on the fun.
Screwface has
So
gone back to Jamaica. Let's do it, man.
the guys are getting ready for the job to get rid of Screwface and on their way to Jamaica. So we see Hatcher use Rocky Balboa's punching bag as a shooting bag, while Charles looks like he got an erection after watching that gun shoot.
Forward, Jamaica.
Now we are in Kingston, Jamaica, while Max and Charles are on their way to meet up with Charles's old army buddy, as he gets some pretty gnarly stares along the way. To meet up with the old pal of Charles, as he mentions that there's a girl that Screwface to party with, shows them her picture, and here she is. Hatcher goes in on her to grab some information, and I guess here she has a thing for non-Jamaicans since he's the only white guy there. The way she's talking and walking in on him. To have a conversation to learn that.
Screwface has 2 heads and 4 eyes.
Which we'll find out real soon. So the trio are now on their way to Screwface's mansion, camping out between the trees. And obviously Screwface is having a party. Typical rich people lifestyle. So Hatcher notices that there are guys on the balcony, shoots them down. Max and Charles look pretty impressed by that. So Hatcher now scouts out the shed and goes in on the rooftop to fit in the bomb. And once again, stunt double is present. Hatcher whips out the remote and blows up the shed to extract intention. Everyone's screaming, and Hatcher breaks in with his night vision goggles. Obviously, Screwface now crapping himself. So now we're in Screwface's comfort room, then torture room, and then Hatcher sees that the picture from his bedroom are there burning. Screwface is now there, ready to kill Hatcher, but his invincible is ready for him to do some serious damage. So Hatcher takes out Screwface's guys, well, as he breaks their bones and beats the crap out of him. But that's done. Hatcher aims for Screwface as he kicks a pile of sand to his eyes, snatches his sword and aims for his nuts, then chops his head off, and that is the end of Screwface. So now that we're in the final moments of the film, so Hatcher yells out that Screwface is no longer living amongst the other Jamaicans, and as evidence, they have Screwface's staff and obviously his cut off head. And as you can see, Charles ended up just like Chico. So Screwface has a twin brother the entire time that the girl wasn't killed. So Hatcher runs after Screwface's twin brother while continuously fighting off more of his guys, and we finally meet up with the Mon himself. Well, once again, we get this long face-to-face fight between Hatcher and Screwface, and I have to mention that it is pretty strange to see Steven Seagal get hit back in his movies, especially the early ones, because this is one of the few, apart from Exit Wounds and a couple of other movies that come out much later. So Screwface hits Hatcher's head continuously against the wall as Hatcher pulls the Blade Runner 1982 technique as he jabs his thumbs into Screwface's eyes, and the two jump to the next wall. So Hatcher cracks his spine and pushes him down the elevator shaft, and that's the end of Screwface 2.0.
They were triplets.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Marked for Death. Hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for Death Wish 2, starring Charles Bronson, released in 1982. Take care.